Thanks so much, Bill. Look, I'm honoured. I'm thrilled to be here with Kerry Brox, our CEO and founder of the Asia Pacific Institute for Learning and Performance. Kerry, for the first time, we've got this opportunity to take people on a deep dive into the capability model and the actual framework. Could you just spend a minute just giving us a background? How did we get to this point? How did this start?
Thanks, Joshua. I thought it was really important because I was sort of doing a lot of research into what capabilities L&D professionals needed, and I couldn't find any really good models that sort of reflected the rapid change that was required to support learning within organisations. So that sent us in a pathway of doing 3 years of extensive research. So we did surveys, focus groups, lots of discussions with our members wherever we had the opportunity. We also spoke to corporate. So once we found out what they believed L&D professionals needed to be successful now and in the future, we confirmed that through speaking to heads of L&D and people within organisations. So after that, we came up with about 220 capabilities that were put into 6 key categories, which we call dimensions.
Wow, Kerry, that sounds like there's actually a lot of extensive research and surveying that went into that. For those that haven't seen the capability model before or haven't seen APILP, can you just summarize what was the goal of forming these capabilities?
The main goal was, as I was saying before, trying to identify the capabilities that L&D professionals need now and also in the future so that we can come up with some robust practical capabilities. And then as an institute or an organisation, we can build pathways and support to help L&D professionals be successful.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense because even when you look at 2020, there's been so much change. What we're saying is we need a robust framework to continue developing ourselves regardless of that change. Now, Kerry, you mentioned that there are a number of different dimensions to the model. Can we just do a real quick flyover on those so that everyone's got an idea of what's about to come up? Can I draw in on the first one being strategy and planning?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Joshua. Strategy and planning, I think, is really important because one of the main ones is getting stakeholder engagement. So identifying who are the people of influence that are going to support and the learners as well as the learning application. It's also about project managing because training is no longer, or learning events are no longer a standalone event. They're more of a pathway or a process. So it's sort of all the things that we need to consider to make sure that the outcomes are achieved. And the last one is our learning and development as strategies. So what can we do to support the learners? Because we know quite often an ideal world would be that the managers had time to support the learners when they get back, but research is showing that no, they don't. So what can we do to continue that learning and help the learner apply that learning?
Okay, wow, thank you. Well, we'll do a deep dive into those in just a moment. I see the next dimension is design and develop. Could you tell us just a high-level overview of what capabilities are in design and develop?
Okay, the first one underneath design and develop dimension is designing learning solutions, and you hit the nail on the head. Before, like now more than ever, this year has caused a whole range of challenges within organisations and for L&D professionals. So it's really important that we now think about design thinking and how we can provide the best solution. So it's sort of taking our old methodologies and then creating the best pathway and initiatives for helping learners. So getting really creative and innovative with how we deliver our solutions. It's also about the pathways. So as I mentioned before, that learning is no longer a standalone event, and developing a series of activities that can continue the learning journey for the learners. So the pathway, how that's created, how we maintain engagement all the way through. And the last one is about your learning materials, because in the past we used to have these big thick manuals that would used to sit on shelves. And actually when I was at AIM as the education manager, we did a survey and we found 95% of people never opened up their manuals again after their training program. So, your materials need to be practical, they need to be interesting, and a whole range of activities. So it doesn't need to be crammed with a lot of information.
Wow, okay, so this is looking like it's really thorough, right through from solutions, pathways down to the materials. I can't wait for us to do a deep dive on that one. So Kerry, our next dimension is execute and deliver. Could you give us, again, that high-level overview of the capabilities in execute and deliver?
All right. Well, the first capability under execute and deliver is delivery and learner preparation. So it's really important to make sure that the learners are primed and ready to learn. I know when I was facilitating, quite often you get learners turn up and they've got no idea why they're there. They're focused on, what's happening back in their workplace. So it's really important that we get them, when they walk into the room or turn up for a learning event, that they are in the right mindset and prepared to learn. The second one is managing learner engagement. So that's all about your techniques, whether it's online, virtual, or face-to-face, so that we use a range of different techniques and methodologies to be able to continue that engagement and monitor their energy levels throughout the event. And the third one is facilitating learning. So it's actually being able to use a range of techniques to keep learners on track and also ensure that the desired results and outcomes are achieved.
Well, again, sounds really thorough, and thankfully for once, someone actually wants to engage us. I shouldn't have said that, but that's how we all feel anyway. So, Kerry, our next dimension is evaluate and feedback. Could you just give us that high-level overview of the capabilities in evaluate and feedback?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Joshua. The very first capability is measure program effectiveness. So it's having a look at both the design and delivery and determining were the learning outcomes achieved. The next one is evaluating learning impact, which is about, the impact of the learning initiative. How did it improve behaviour, the performance, and also measuring the business results from your learning. The last one is reviewing performance. So there is now so much involved with running learning initiatives. So it's having a look at all of the elements. So it's having a look at identifying areas for improvement, whether it's your design, delivery, your stakeholder engagement, your communications and marketing, as well as the support the learners achieved throughout the process. And just working out, as I said before, identifying where you can improve going forward. So it's a continual learning improvement process.
So, Kerry, the next dimension of the capability framework is business smarts. And I know firsthand from this one that there was one of these capabilities that you're probably going to speak of that just kept coming up time and time again when people said they wanted a seat at the table. But I'm not going to steal your thunder. Could you quickly walk us through what are the capabilities for business smarts?
Yeah, actually, you're right, Joshua. There was one that just came up continuously in every focus group that we ran. So probably not surprising, but that one was courageous consulting, which is all about managing stakeholder relationships and the ones that can influence the success of your learning outcomes. So really important because, as you know, some stakeholders may choose to want to sort of shrink the budget or shrink the time frame, or identify the wrong solution. So it's having that courage to sort of step up and be able to negotiate and influence to make sure that the right learning solution is applied. The next one is marketing and communications, which is all about, identifying the best marketing methods and timelines so that you can promote your learning initiative as well as the benefits from it. And the last one is finance and budgeting. So it's becoming more budget savvy, and it's, as you said before, getting a seat at the table so that you can identify, the real cost of programs and of your service to bring the program to life, as well as your break-even costs. So a whole range of those little things just to sort of step up and make us more savvy in that area.
And these three in particular may be a surprise to some learning professionals, yet I was there in some of those focus groups. The themes kept coming up, and maybe they haven't in the past been seen as traditional capabilities of a learning professional, but clearly the market has told us that, and that's from supply and demand, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think, to be successful, we do need these things to be able to, we can't just sort of rock up, deliver a training program. There's more around it. So it's sort of like, making, as I said, making sure it's the right solution, informing people so they know what to expect and what they're going to get out of it. And then also to, make sure that it is adding value through cost of the program to your stakeholders.
So far, we're really seeing that this is a robust framework. Let's have a look at the next dimension now. Kerry, our final dimension is professional attributes. Could you, for the final time, just give us that overview of the three capabilities of professional attributes?
The first capability underneath this dimension is value diversity. So it's about recognising the benefits of diverse ideas and methods that you'll be able to apply, and also respecting the different experiences and backgrounds that the learners will bring to the learning experience, and being able to adapt to those different learning preferences and needs. The second one is emotional intelligence. So it's really important that we communicate with empathy with our stakeholders and our learners, and we seek to understand what their needs are, and being able to present with confidence and be able to adjust our style again to suit the learners and the stakeholders. And the last one is continual development. So as you've heard, there's a lot of capabilities that we need to cover. So it's about keeping up to date with the latest technologies and methods through the research and professional development, so you can ensure that you're delivering the best solution every time.
Wow. So that's quite an extensive set of capabilities. Thank you for giving us that very high level helicopter view. We're going to cross back to Bill in a moment and look at what's coming up. And I'm really excited about revisiting some of these with you and then getting into the actual sessions with the mentors. So, Kerry, thank you so much for that overview. Bill, we'll cross back to you now.